Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, all my people. It's Thursday. Getting over that hump. Got over Wednesday. It's time to go, man. We getting ready for this 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. This isn't really a game preview, but I just had some thoughts on the boogeyman. And I don't know. I think we're about to take the boogeyman down. So let's get into it. San Francisco 49ers morning show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers morning show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. I don't know if y'all can tell me. I'm excited. I'm excited today. Why am I excited? Because my gym is supposed to get here today. We'll see if it actually gets here. And when I say my gym, for those of you who are newer to this, I'm building a sports performance facility. All right, so you guys see me right here on Frontline Sports Media, but I have Frontline Sports Performance as well. The dirt work has been done for a month and a half, and now, man, it's almost time for the building to come in. Now, once the building comes in, then they have to lay out the concrete and do all that stuff, the plumbing and all that stuff. But one step at a time, man. One step at a time. We are getting there. I want to make sure I thank all of you because without y'all, the gym, it wouldn't really be something that is coming to fruition the way that it is. And I'm really excited about that. Thank you all for all the support with everything that I do, all the support you guys have given me, man. I appreciate y'all. I do think that manifesting, like speaking things into existence, I think it is real, man. It's real. But I think what's realer is, is realer a word? More real, realer. All right. Believing in yourself, for real. Because I've been saying some cliche stuff lately. All right. But this is going to be cliche again. And we hear it, but I swear to God, like, it's true. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. Like, first, they got to see it in you. Like, they got to see that you really believe in this. And then once they see you really believe, then somebody, it's like, I think I believe them. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real. And then you just got to figure it out. And one thing I've learned along the way, because I felt like, at different times, like, man, I think this person can help me or this person can help me. But at the end of the day, you got to put yourself in position. Like, you got to put yourself in position. And then everything starts to fall in place. That was just one thing I've kind of learned along this journey. I started my business plan. I created 2007, 2018, 2017. Whenever Lonzo Ball was drafted. All right. So, just like y'all, I was sitting back, I'm on, watching TV and I'm listening to this LeVar Ball dude. And I'm just like, man, what is this dude talking about? And at one point it just clicked. It just clicked, like, kind of what he was doing and how he was speaking things into existence, and everything that he did behind the Big Baller brand, and like creating his own thing, $500 shoes, and people were like, man, $500 shoes, like, that's crazy. And his thing was like, man, y'all spend $1,000 on these Balenciagas, thousand on the other stuff, like, you're gonna create a brand and put your own price on it. Now, again, you want the quality to be good, and whatever happened with Big Baller brand, I don't know, but just the thought process in which LeVar's Ball spoke, like, it spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? It spoke to me. So I was listening, I'm thinking about what I was doing at that time. And I'm like, man, Croc, like, this ain't you. And my schedule was crazy. One day I'm gonna tell y'all everything I was doing, but my schedule was crazy. I worked at an elementary school. I would go straight from there to go train the athletes. I would coach. I was going sun up, sun down, and I wasn't really making money like that. Like, I was making money to be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, bills was paid and stuff. But I'm like, man, I am busting my ass and I'm going all day long. I got to figure out, like, if I'm going to bust my ass, I'm going to be going all day long. Like, I'm going to be going for me, and I'm going to do it on my own terms. And now that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I bust my ass and I do it on my terms. So, I think God, the way it all happened, and there's something, people say like, don't block your blessings. What's happening right now, like this wasn't the plan. I'm in Arkansas. I moved from Stockton, California to Arkansas a year ago. And this wasn't the plan. The plan was go to Arkansas, where I went to college, go back, finish, get my degree, my wife get the nurse, do her nursing stuff, and let's dip back to California. And God said, you know what, Croc, like I told you I'm bringing you to Arkansas for you to coach and, be assistant coach or whatever, but really that's not what's going to happen. Okay, first you're going to come out here and I know you have a little money put away, but I'm going to have these folks offer you a job at a furniture store. And I said, just walking through, like we were just buying furniture and they offered me a job and I don't turn down money. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then God said, you're supposed to be coaching at the university, but you know what? You're not going to coach there. I never understood it. Like I still can't wrap my head around it. I train athletes. I've coached. I went to the university. I was team captain at the university. I went and played professional football. And for whatever reason, what they told me was going to happen when I came out here was not the case. I couldn't tell you why to this day. I don't know. But God said, that's not what you are in Arkansas to do. So I'm working in the furniture store trying to figure out like what exactly it is that God brought me here for. And I'm working, and I start to train athletes over the summer. All right. And we're going to talk about 49ers, y'all, but sometimes I go off on this other stuff. But over the summer, I work with a few athletes. And one thing led to another. And I don't know, it's crazy. One game, my son, he's out here and he wasn't playing at this time because he got out here kind of late. He wanted to go watch some of his boys play football. This when he was in the 8th grade. He wanted to watch some of his boys' game out of town. I'm like, I don't want to go to this out of town game. But I went anyways. So I don't know what made me go. I don't know what made me go to this game. But I went to this game and right behind me, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith said, hey, Croc, I'm Danny Smith. I appreciate everything you did with those boys, working with those boys this summer. If you need anything, you let me know. And it's just the way he said it. Like, he looked at me, shook my hand, like, if you need anything, you let me know. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And one day I'll get into, like, the blessing that conversation was. Like, words can't explain. I might write a book or something about it. Like, just everything. And y'all wouldn't believe it. But I'm never moving back to California. And all these blessings that I've gotten since coming out here. First of all, I can go back to California whenever I want. That's crazy. When you move somewhere else, when you leave California, and then you start doing things and coming, money, whatever. I can go to California whenever I feel like going now. You know what I'm saying? I go visit all the time. I'm going to California in a week or so. I was just in California last month. So when you go to other places, it's weird because I am Stockton to the core. Like I'm 209. I'm 209. Like I'm as 209 as it gets. I'm as Stockton as it gets. And I never thought I'd be moving away for good. Like when I was playing pro ball and everything like that, everything was to get back to Stockton. And now I'm not going back. And I never saw myself living in Arkansas. Never. Yeah. If you'd have asked me a year ago, like, hey, Croc, like, you gonna like hell, what? Arkansas? Never. But anyways, enough of all that. Just speak things into existence, but you gotta believe it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta believe it. Like if there's things that y'all want to do, and right now is the day and the age of the entrepreneur, and it ain't all pretty. Like when I started training these athletes, like last January, so a year ago now, I quit a job with I had no insurance, no guarantee of nothing. My wife was like, "What? Like you're gonna do what?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna do it." And I can't even express the blessings that have come since then. But it ain't you gotta, you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be some things, ups and downs and different things that's gonna try you mentally, and you gotta be mentally tough through all this if that's what you want to do. You want I followed the LeVar Ball model. You know what I'm saying? And it was on your own. And I knew I wanted to I wanted to be my own boss. It's not for everybody though, but it's definitely been for me and all the blessings that have come from it. All right. Anyway, Appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my 209 folks, all my Stockton folks. You know, I'm from the north side, Valverde Park. Shout out to everybody wherever you're from. It's dope to see everybody that comes in here every morning to talk. You know, whether it's 49er football or whatever. You know, sometimes I come on here and I just get to talking. Real quick, somebody made fun of me the other day. They made fun of my iPhone XR or whatever, and I was like, well, I got a an iPhone. What is 12 or whatever? But now, since y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all had the jokes. Now I went and got me the new one, iPhone 13. So yeah, now make fun of that. All right, here we go. Congratulations on the gym, bro. Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's definitely a blessing. I can't wait to really get it open and all the things I want to do from there. And everybody thinks like, you know, gym is it like, nah, man, like this is for the kids. It seemed like it's for me, but it's for the kids. It's for the kids, man. It's for the kids. I can't wait for all the things that's gonna come from that gym and all the like just the blessings and everything that's gonna happen in there and the way that I want to build everything and man, I'm excited. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this without Danny Smith. Danny Smith. So everybody say congrats to me, man. But just say, hey, thank you, Danny Smith. That Danny Smith, that's the man right there, man. None of this would be possible without him. I appreciate the contribution. And it wouldn't be possible without y'all, man. We talking about the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks today. And really not getting into details of the actual game, but just like the spell that the Seahawks have had over the 49ers. Before we get started, make sure you guys, if you haven't already, download Underdog Fantasy, the app, or go to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code Crocky. They got over-unders. They got all kind of bets, all kind of great stuff. Make sure you guys do that. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky, support the show. Also, Manscaped. It ain't Monday, so, you know what I'm saying? Monday's usually when I do all my manscaping, but, you know, Manscaped Monday, you feel me? But manscaped.com, go there right now to the website. Use promo code Crocky, and you get 20% off of everything on their website. Now, right now, they do have a little bit of deals or whatever, but no matter what, use promo code Crocky so they know where you came from. All right. That's manscaped.com. Promo code Crocky. Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Crocky. I appreciate all y'all, man. Hey, man, stop walking around crazy. Go get sexy for your lady. Let's go. Thank you for sharing your story. God definitely had different plans for you. Congratulations on the gym. Love from the Bay. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Miss Tanya. Appreciate it. Yeah. God, he works in mysterious ways. That's all I can say. And he know, like, man, Croc, you've been grinding. I got you now. I got you. I think God put me through different things just to, you know, whatever reason. Even making it to the NFL. I don't think me making it to the NFL was for me. I think me making it to the NFL was for other people, you know, for the kids to show like, all right, look, these are all the things that you had to go through to get here. You know, you struggled academically in high school. You made your life harder. You had to go the junior college route. You struggled there. You had a kid at an early age. You dropped out of college, junior college. Started working at warehouses and stuff like that, robbed stores, did all kind of crazy stuff. Your best friend went to jail for multiple years. He got out. Y'all went back to junior college, you know, all conference, went to Division II school in Arkansas. You know, your cousin just happened to be director player personnel for an arena team. How, what, when? I don't even know how that happened. Next thing you know, you're on the NFL roster. NFL roster. And all those things, I feel like everything that I went through and all the different steps and the stages and the trials and tribulations was all to put that back into the youth and show them that they don't have to go the route that I did. That's what this is for. So congratulations to me. Yeah, it's cool, but it's really just a place where I'll be able to do all these different things for the youth. That's kind of where my mindset is on that. God's plan, man. But are y'all ready for the boogeyman? And the boogeyman himself is Russell Wilson. And, you know, we did a crossover episode, Locked On 49ers. Shout out to everybody listening to Locked On 49ers. We got all the messages, all the screenshots. That was a lot of people's number one podcast that they listen to. A lot of people. Man, I mean, my mentions it's still going. Just with everybody showing us that Locked On 49ers is the number one podcast they listen to. So that's hella dope. On Spotify. That's dope. That's dope. Appreciate all the love and support. We have a crossover episode that should be out now from the with Corbin from the Seahawks. He covers the Seahawks, a beat writer for them. And Russell Wilson is doing bad. Russell Wilson is doing. I mean, he's not good right now. We watched him. I know everybody watched him Monday night against Washington. I'm pretty sure most of y'all watched him. I think the one thing that kind of concerned me a little bit was no matter how bad he was, and he was bad in that game, and he's been bad over these last few weeks and coming back from that finger injury. But no matter how bad he is, he still put them in position to potentially win the game. And that's the one thing that scares me when it comes to Russell Wilson. Like, how? How do you go through all that? How'd you, and then still have a chance? And that scares me. But if the 49ers are going to like stick a fork in them once and for all, this is the time to do it. This is the time. You have them spin out of control. I mean, the turmoil around the Seahawks organization right now is crazy. There's John, they got the Snyder, right? That's the GM, right? John Snyder, I believe. I don't know why that doesn't sound right. Let's see. But you have the general manager, you got Pete Carroll, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people, let me see, John Snyder. Who's John Snyder? I don't know why that. Let's see, Snyder, Seahawks. Yeah, John Schneider. Schneider. All right, so he's the GM. So you got John Schneider. All right, you got Pete Carroll. There's turmoil there. And people are thinking that there's a potential opportunity for the Seahawks to clean house. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we'd see the day right now that the Seahawks would potentially clean house? And if they lose a few more games in a row, I mean, this is a chance to blow this whole thing up. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not mad at it. I hope it happens. Blow the Seahawks up. Blow them up. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson have been a thorn in the 49ers side for a decade. I'm terrified every time. I've told y'all, like, man, I'm scared of Michael Myers. I don't know why I'm scared of Michael Myers, but I'm just scared of Michael Myers. All right. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, they've been Michael Myers to me. And I think this is the one time where the 49ers, like, they're down. And I felt like they were down in that first game, and we just didn't. The 49ers in that first game against Seahawks, 5 straight 3-and-outs forced by the defense. 5 straight 3-and-outs forced by the defense. And the offense didn't put their foot on their throats. And then you bring in a rookie who had no playing experience and was not prepared to play in that game. That's the only reason why the Seahawks won that game. But you can't have any weird things happen like in this one. Like, you got to stick a fork in them. And if they lose this game, and if it looks bad enough, I promise you, heads will roll. We already see the turmoil going on the sideline there. DK Metcalf pointing at Geno Smith, wanting Geno Smith to come in over Russell, the guy that's put DK under his wing. Oh, man, like, this is the time, y'all. This is the time. This is the time for the 49ers to really put their foot on their throat. And this game, a win here, it's not just a win. I think it symbolizes potentially the end of an era with the Seattle Seahawks. And not to be dramatic and stuff like that, but no, seriously. It's getting bad. I think this is the time. 49ers got to take advantage of it. It's almost like they want the 49ers to, like, just put me out of my misery. Like, they want that. They're waiting for that. They need that. And the 49ers need that. And now you just got to go in there and you got to bully them. Now, again, I don't know what the 49ers top prices are. It's not going to be easy. You're down Deebo Samuel. You're down Fred Warner. You're missing guys. It's not going to be easy. But we know how the 12 is going to get. Like, from what I've been hearing, the 12s they're not happy about it. That one guy, I can't wait to tweet him. I'm hoping I get to. I have the tweets queued up. I have like 2 tweets right now ready to go in my drafts for the moment that clock hits 0. All 49ers have to do is win. I'm so upset it got flexed out. Some of our fans are sleeping on Wilson, who can easily turn the page and look like Russell Wilson. He has been owning this for a while now. And that's what I'm afraid of. Because even, I mean, look at the Washington game for how bad it was throughout that game. All of a sudden, Russell Wilson flipped that switch when it was time, when it was go time, and he drove him down the field. And we've seen that. Obviously we saw that in the game earlier this year. I remember 2019, even the 49ers won in Seattle. 49ers won in Seattle, but he made it a game. 49ers were up like double digits that game. 49ers should have won, like easily. Jimmy Garoppolo, that was the sharpest I've ever seen him. I believe he completed 18 out of 22 passes in that game. One of his misses was just a drop by Matt Breida. Like Jimmy was sharp. He was on. And still, somehow, it took an amazing tackle from Dre Greenlaw to win. These dudes just don't go away. And they're not going to go away against the 49ers. They're going to be up for it. They know the 49ers. When you get to these divisional matchups, anything can happen. This is one that it's always going to worry me. Anytime you play the Seahawks and they have Russell Wilson. Now, they got Geno Smith. All right. But Russ doesn't really miss games. Matter of fact, he missed his first NFL game until this year. First time he ever missed a game in all these years. It's so crazy. But they have this like voodoo spell over the 49ers. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm feeling like it's coming to an end. All right. But enough of me talking about it. That was one of the main things I wanted to touch on today. I did want to talk a little bit about the secondary because that seems to be a topic. All right. And there was some not news, but just some love shown to Emmanuel Mosley. And I'm reading the comments and they hate Josh Norman. Now, again, we went on this rant recently. Not me, but me. I went on a rant about Josh Norman. But let me look up the exact thing I saw on Instagram with, there we go, one Emmanuel Mosley and how well he's playing. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why everybody hates our secondary so much. I don't know. I'm not saying they're great. All right. I'm not saying the 49ers secondary is great. But they're not nearly as bad as everybody. And it's just like this. It's like, let's just get to the tweet. I mean, the message. All right. So RSF 49ers tweeted out, cornerback Emmanuel Mosley has given up 0 touchdowns on 51 coverage snaps this season. That's not right. He definitely has way more than 51 coverage snaps. So however many coverage snaps he has, Emmanuel Mosley has given up 0, maybe it's 0 targets. So maybe Emmanuel Mosley has given up 0 touchdowns on 51 targets. We'll say that this season. Second only behind Tre'Davious White. Now, again, I'll repeat. Emmanuel Mosley has given up 0 touchdowns on 51, I'm going to say targets. All right, Tre'Davious White, that's the only person that has done better. Now, the comments, right? So you go to the comments, you read the comments, and just right away, the one thing that everybody's saying, there's 2 things, right? There's 2 things. And it's just like, what is going on with this fan base and tearing down the secondary? So, Emmanuel Mosley, he's playing awesome. He's doing terrific. The comments in here, yeah, but how many pass interferences? Yeah, but how many times are they calling pass interference? Well, how many times has he been PI'd? How many times has he been PI'd? How many times? I mean, just so many. I don't know how many comments there are in here, but I'd be willing to bet that there's probably over 100 that are asking how many times. I think I can look this way, right? How can I look? 231 comments. I'd say out of the 231 comments in this Instagram post, I'd say out of 231 comments, by 100 asking how many pass interferences Mosley is called for. And it's like, why is that the first thing that people jump to? You have Emmanuel Mosley, he's playing at a really good level. Like, he's playing very well. He's a legit starting cornerback in the NFL. And why is the first thing that 49er fans jump to is, well, yeah, but how many pass interferences? Well, the answer to that is 2. He's been called for 2 pass interferences all year. 2. But like, so the fact that he's only been called for 2 pass interferences, why is that the first thing that people jump to with Emmanuel Mosley? Why can't they just say, damn, Mosley playing very well, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's good. But it's like, nah, man, how many pass interferences is being called for? Well, two. Two for 51 yards. All right, two for 51 yards. Which the yardage part of it isn't great, but two penalties, 51 yards. So now, again, I said there were two things that everybody was saying. Here's the other one, which really they're kind of still diminish how well Emmanuel Mosley is playing. So it went from, well, I mean, Patrick interference Emmanuel Mosley. And it went to, well, the only reason why he's doing so good is because everybody's targeting Josh Norman. It's like, so now he can only be good because of who's on the other side. Are we going to use that argument for everybody else? Now let's talk about Josh Norman. All right. And I pulled up some numbers and I don't have them up in front of me. I wish I did. I should have them up. I have all these things like ready for arguments because, you know, obviously I felt like the 49 secondary isn't as bad as everybody says, but Josh Norman has been flagged 6 times, which is not, it's not even, it's not top 10 in penalties. All right. Now, again, Norman has started down there every game. I think he didn't start week 1. There might have been one other game he missed. All right. But he's not top 10 in penalties. But you tell everybody else he just sucks. And if I had to guess, I don't think he's given up as many catches as everybody thinks. Because when you look at the comments and how they're talking about Josh Norman, a lot of things that people are saying, well, Josh Norman, he stays getting roasted. He's always getting roasted. Well, every other player is getting roasted. No, he's not. Now, I don't have numbers in front of me, but I go on a limb and say he gave up 2 catches against the Vikings. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd say 2 catches, Josh Norman. Y'all let me know how many catches, because I see my guy, Josh. No, it's not Josh. Here we go. Noah. He says, Mosley has 3 PIs, 2 versus Indy, 1 versus Green Bay. All right. Okay. So Mosley has 3 penalties. I thought it was 2. Okay, 3. Still not bad, right? That's not like terrible. All right. Now, if somebody can pull up how many receptions Josh Norman gave up against the Vikings, because I don't think it's a high number. But again, now we're talking about he's giving up how many drop back passes? How many times did Kirk Cousins drop back to pass? Let's look at this. All right, let's see. Kirk Cousins stats. Let's take a look at it. All right, I'm looking for his game log. And I'm trying to go to his game log against the San Francisco 49ers. Here it goes. So he attempted 32 passes. He took 1 sack. So he dropped back 33 times. So out of 33 dropbacks, 33, I'm guessing let's say Norman was involved in 4 passes, right? You know, and that's me. I don't know. I'm just going to say 4. Is that always burnt? Is that always toasted? Is that always like getting whooped? You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to just bring a different perspective here. If y'all want to give up Norman, just dog him, whatever, go ahead. But I don't think it's nearly as bad as everybody makes it seem. Now, am I saying that Norman is great? Am I saying he's good? Am I saying that the 49ers can potentially do better? I'm not saying that. Am I saying he's shut down? No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm also saying it's not as bad as people think. It's not as bad. Again, it's not as bad. And I'll take, okay, if you're going to give up a couple catches a game, if you're going to give up, you're going to have a penalty against you, can you make an impact? And he's punching out 7 passes and also has an interception. Okay, here we go. So, Noah, man, you've been awesome. I appreciate you in the chat. Josh Norman was targeted 6 times and gave up 3 catches for 63 yards. Again, that's like the yards are gonna come, right? When you have Kirk Cousins and you have Justin Jefferson, who's been eating everybody up, and you got our guy, why am I blanking on that? Adam Thielen. Like, it could be way worse. 3 catches, 63 yards. And again, I'm not saying he's shut down. But 3 catches, Okay, 63 yards. You don't want to give up 20 yards a catch. All right. There must have been a big one in there. Definitely the one. Matter of fact, the big one was to Justin Jefferson, I'm sure. I don't know how big of a play that was. Let's see if I can pull up the stats here. Let's see. Full box score. And see how big I want to see how big the receiving longest Justin Jefferson. So 30 yards. So I'm pretty sure that was the play that was 30 yards. So half of his yards came on one catch. Not ideal that you don't want to give up that many yards, but saying you can do worse, especially when okay, I give up 3 catches, 60 yards. All right, but also punch the ball out. Also, okay, 50% completion against me. That's not bad for a cornerback. If you give up 3 catches out of 6 targets, that's not bad. You don't want to give up 60 yards. I'd say 40 would be a little bit more acceptable. But also on top of that, he punched the ball out. So again, he's giving you an opportunity to take the ball away. He's done that consistently. Like that's consistent. It's not just something that just happens here and there. He's always punching at the ball. So at some point, that ball is going to come out. He might force 14 fumbles before the season's over. All right. I don't want to put on a cape for Josh Norman. I'm not saying that he's great. I'm not saying he's shut down. But what I'm saying is he's not as bad as everybody thinks. And it's crazy that in a game, in a post for Emmanuel Mosley, saying Emmanuel Mosley's doing well, all the responses for the most part were negative. Like, what are we doing as a fan base, 49ers? In a post that Mosley's doing well, everybody's either trying to tear him down for whatever reason or tear down Josh Norman. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But anyways, thought he played well. I think you could do a lot worse than Josh Norman. I don't think he's great. I think that he's playing at a reasonable level. I'd say there's 64 starting outside corners. That's not including nickels. I'd say out of 64, he's in the top 60. I don't know where, but I know you could do a lot worse at the cornerback position. All right. Here we go. But anyways, man, let's get to it, man. You guys go ahead, hop in the chat. Whatever y'all want to talk about, the link is right there. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right, here we go. For media, here we go. Frame of reference is important. Ramsey has given up 40 catches for 388 yards and 2 TDs this year. Norman has given up 24 for 320 and 2 TDs. And I love Jalen Ramsey. And the crazy thing is Jalen Ramsey not following guys around really this year. He played a lot of snaps in the slot. So go ahead. I'm going to leave this up here for everybody to see. I'm going to leave that up. Oh, dang, I can't. There's a super chat. But I want everybody to see that. Look at that stat. And Ramsey's tight. Ramsey's that guy. But look at that stat. Please. We're using some context here. No, man, Noah, you've been awesome. Our guy, Brad Brown, it's San Francisco. They were born salty. That might be the case, man. I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm just here. I'm just here to bring a different perspective, should I say. All right. I'm not here to tell y'all you're wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying we got to use a little context. All right. We got to use a little context. But you know what? I got my guy. Here we go. I got my guy Noah on here. So he could come on and bring a little bit more context. 1 second. Let me get this right here. Boom. All right. Here we go. What's up,
What's
Coach?
up, man? What's up? What's up, dude? I think people don't. Playing corner is so hard, man. It's so hard. And then when everyone watches corners get burned, and you watch, and because you're out there on an island, and it's easy to spot a guy and be like, oh, well, he got torched. I think Norman is playing all right, and I put those numbers up there for. I'm not saying that Norman is even close to Jalen Ramsey, right? But you have to understand, the context of what corners are dealing with. Like corners aren't out there like just locking people down, giving up 0 yards, or 10 yards a game. It's hard out there.
Well, and I think that's the part that people get lost in. And I always tell people, obviously we watch the 49ers, but watch other teams as well, because I think it'll help put things into perspective what was really going on at the cornerback position. So I think when we watch Josh Norman every week, right, and it's just like, oh man, he got beat here, or oh man, a pass interference here, and we see it. But that's all a lot of 49er fans have to go off of, because they don't sit and watch full games from these other teams and see everything that happens to those guys on a consistent basis.
Right. And I goofed on Norman a little bit with Grant and all that, and that's all fun. But it's just like the other thing about the PIs is I think some of it is actually positive, right? Because as a coach, you teach your corners, like, don't give up the PI, don't give up the touchdown. And Norman is at this point in his career, he's limited physically. So
yeah,
I think there's certain points where he knows he's beat and he's just like, all right, I'm giving up I'm going to PI him because I'm rather do that than give up the score, and we'll live another down. So I think some of that can be is a positive. It's not necessarily, oh, he stinks. I think some of it, he's playing aggressive on purpose. So I don't think for what they could do, I think Norman's all right. Now, do I think they should hang on to him next year and roll him out next year? No, but
no. So here's a question for you, right? So shout out to our guy, Mr. Big Tuna, Twan. All right, all we need is a stud to play along Mosley. I think that's what the 49ers were expecting, right? You come into the season, your guy really is Jason Verrett, right? But you lost him, and obviously, I mean, we know his injury history, so maybe it was something that people should have been like, hey, we know this is something that potentially can happen, but like really, like that's your guy, right? Jason Verrett. Now, when you lose him, I think everybody's like, well, the 49ers haven't addressed the cornerback position, but it's like they drafted 2 corners in this last class. Did they draft them as high as maybe everybody wants them to? No, but you drafted Ambry Thomas, who fits from a height, weight, speed, athleticism standpoint. They drafted Diamador Lenore. We'll see what happens with that. They drafted guys that Norman was not on a roster. So yes, I think if it's as simple and as easy as saying, well, we need a stud to play alongside Mosley, everybody in the NFL, every team wants to say, well, I need a stud to play alongside Tre'Davious White, or I need the stud to play alongside Jalen Ramsey. Y'all can't even name the other corners on the Rams, right? We don't even know who the other corners are in Buffalo, right? Like, it's hard. Like, there's not as many good coverage guys as people think. And not so much that guys aren't good, but just playing cornerback is just so hard. Like, it's so hard. So at some point, more than likely, you're going to get guy. I think you're good by just having a Mosley that's playing well. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think I think if they can find another guy on the other side, like Mosley is a great number 2. And then if they can find a really another number 1, I think this defense will go to another level. That's why earlier in the year I wanted them to go after Gilmore, because I thought you put Gilmore and Mosley out there, I think that's gonna be a great combo, because I don't think Mosley. If you look at Mosley's he didn't go to a combine, but I think it was
Pro Day
workout. He's got good numbers. He ran like a 4.4. He has a good shuttle time. Like they're like draftable numbers. I don't know why he didn't get drafted, but he's an athlete. He's a real athlete. So and with the Verrett injury we were talking about before, I think that the corner issue, it's part of a larger issue where the 49ers have a large number of injury prone players on the roster. So it's difficult for them to back up and have suitable backups for every position. And when you have so many guys that are injury prone, it's going to increase the chances of guys get injured. Now, if you look at Verrett's past, there's a high probability that he was going to probably get injured again. So ideally, you would want to have suitable backups so in case that happened, but they can't do that for every position. So where did they do it? They did it at quarterback. They invested a lot there. They drafted Trey Lance. Obviously, he's a future, but he's also the backup right now. And then they poured money into the defensive end position because their main guy, D Ford, is always injured. So they signed Samson Ebukam. So like, there's only so many places where they can pour vested resources in. So the way they treated corner is they went and they drafted a bunch of young guys, but they drafted them later, and they're not ready. So ideally, you'd want them to do a better job treating that corner position. But there's only so many. You can only deal with so many places, invest so many resources in so many places. I do think they should start investing more resources in the corner position because I think it's so important. But seeing what they did this year, there's so many places, so many things they could do.
Right. So what would you have like the 49ers do in this draft? Were you one of the guys that really wanted the 49ers to draft Samuel? Wait, yeah.
I was actually a big
Samuel Jr.
No, I don't like Eric. I don't like small corners. Yeah, I don't. I'm not a big. I was not a big Samuel Jr. guy. I didn't necessarily have a problem them not going Asante Samuel Jr. My overall issue is I didn't like them drafting the running back Sermon because I felt like Bobby Turner they do such a great job, and this is even before Mitchell, is that they do such a great job of just finding running backs and then turning them into studs. I knew they were going to turn, if it wasn't Mitchell, it was going to be some UDFA that they were going to turn into a stud. So there's no reason to go out there and spend a third-round pick on a back, whether it's Sermon or whoever, because Bobby Turner's been doing this for his entire career. The guy's 72 years old. He's pulled backs out of his ass for his entire career. So there's no reason to spend. So I would have liked them to draft a corner probably a little sooner, using with the second round pick or the third round pick, rather than maybe the guard especially with the guard not playing, and certainly rather than Sermon.
All right, yeah, and I mean, I don't mind smaller corners. I'm actually someone who most people are like, Croc, you were a big corner. I was 6'2", 200 pounds, damn near. And but I like the way the smaller guys move better, and I think there's just a little bit more versatility in which guys that they can cover. So I tend to lean a little bit more towards guys that are 6 foot, 5'11", kind of more in that range, as opposed to like the 6'3" corner, because a lot of times the 6'3" corner, which I'm familiar with clearly, but the movement skills are just a little bit longer. So, I typically lean towards more of the smaller guys. I just think the change of direction, the footwork, all that stuff is a little better. And I think it allows them, especially in today's game, that's a little bit more open. A lot of it is like off coverage. And especially if they're going to continue to be so, with the way that they're flagging guys, I think like now more than ever, you kind of need guys that are a little bit better with their feet and stuff like that. So yeah.
I'd agree with that. I mean, it's difficult to find big corners with the hips and the COD that you really want. Probably when you start getting to that 6'3" range, it gets more difficult. But I mean, there's certainly guys out there I think that are 6 foot 6'1" that move like they're 5'8". I mean, those are the guys that normally go in the first round, but
right.
It's not crazy, but like you're not gonna get that. You're usually not gonna get that guy in the fourth round. It's something crazy like he's got red flags, and that's why I think the 49ers need to spend a little bit more resources on this position, certainly more than they've spent in the past. And I mean, I started a little bit. I'm really eager to dive into this corner class because I think the 49ers really, really need to address it I know they drafted 2 last year, but they really need to hit that position again. I think it's like you gotta like nuke it. Just keep hitting it until you find somebody.
Yeah, and I think we're in luck, man. I think this is a good cornerback class that's coming up. But coach, man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get to the next caller.
Yeah, you got to do it. Have a good day.
All right, Noah. That was awesome. Awesome insight there. The average fan has no idea how hard it is to contain a wide receiver who knows what he is going to do, and the corner does not. It's tough. Corner is the hardest position to play. And I think everybody just thinks that it's just as easy as just having somebody that's really good and he just go out there and he's going to play well. On any given play, you can get got. You know what I'm saying? On any given play. If you take one bad step or whatever, that's why I lean more towards the philosophy of building the front. And again, this is me. I'm a cornerback guy, but I just understand how hard it is. Like, it's hard. It's so hard. So what I would do, I'm building up that front. I'm putting a lot of resources into that. And I think that's helping me on the back end. I skipped the super chat. Okay, I'm going to try to get to that. Let's see if I can find it here. I got that one. Hold on. Let's find it here before I get to the next caller. I want to make sure I get to all the super chats. I see this one, and I appreciate this. I appreciate this. I see the Grant Cone negativity one. I know I talked about this one. Oh no, which one? Which one did I miss? But I appreciate everybody that's in the chat right now. I definitely appreciate all the contributions. About to bring on another caller. Really excited about that. Man, I can't. I hope I don't know if. Oh, nope. I just had this one up. Which one did I skip? I appreciate everybody with the contributions. Here we go. I got my guy Ben coming on. Ben, what's good?
I'm good, Croc. How are you doing today, man?
What's your philosophy on addressing the cornerback position? Do you think it's that simple as just drafting the corner really high, or do you think that it's something that hey, let's build the front and that's going to help with the back end? How would you go about it if you were? We're going to say we got GM Ben. All right, GM Ben.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing this offseason about the cornerback position?
Well, just as you were talking about that at the end there with Coach, right? You were reminding me of the conversation we had on my show, I think, gosh, like months ago now, where we were talking about pressure versus coverage. And we were talking about this issue specifically where you were telling me, you're like, look, I'm a corner. I'm telling you, with how hard it is to cover guys, you need to get that pressure before anything else. And I think corner is super important. I'll get to my philosophy in a second, but I feel like the problem we're getting into, Croc, this year, you've been touching on it a lot, is that the corner play isn't bad for the 49ers, I don't think. I think people give it a lot more crap than it deserves. But when you don't have the pass rush to go along with it, you just can't expect your corners to cover for that long, right? And I think with Nick Bosa specifically, like, it's Nick Bosa and some guys this year. That's what I'm seeing recently. And they're just not getting the type of pressure that they should be getting with how much they've invested in that defensive line. But in terms of my philosophy of like going after corners, I'm in the boat of I think you just got to keep going until you get them and keep investing higher and higher and higher. Now, I think the tough part is like, I think at the beginning of this season, I would have said, oh, yeah, take a second round corner. Absolutely. Like, no question. I just think unless you go after those like top 40, top 50 draft pick sort of guys, you just can't expect to get value. Or if you do, you're getting lucky, or there's something that you figured out with that player that other people didn't figure out. And, even a guy like Ambry Thomas, he's a risk to me, even though like you talked about yourself like multiple times, how he's that type top 50 sort of talent, right? But he didn't play a year. He kind of had his own issues. But with guys like that, like, I think you can't quite get the corners you want to get unless you're going to go after them in the top 50. So you either have to do that or go and grab JC Jackson or someone like that in free agency, right? Unless you're going to go get one of the premium guys or invest top 50 picks like year after year. And like, unless I hit that guy, Croc, unless I had that guy next to Mosley, who I was comfortable with, I would keep picking them in the top 50 year after year, because I just think the position is so important. But also, I'll say this, I kind of want the 49ers to go after a pass rusher in round 2 next year. I really think they need that guy opposite Nick Bosa on their defense. So I they're gonna have to invest in corners some way differently. I don't think what they have now is the right solution long term, but I also don't know where they should necessarily go with it. Like if it was me, like I said, I'm all about drafting corners in the second round, but now I look across this roster and I think there's so many other spots that I worry about too, especially that pass rush. But even the offensive line a little, like I'd like to replenish that. Like the Aaron Banks pick, he just hasn't shown up yet. And to me, Croc, I feel like well, the thing that makes this really tough this season for the 49ers is they didn't hit on any of those day 2 picks, at least this year, where they're playing and they're contributing. So to me, if you get one of those guys, you either take a corner next year or Ambry Thomas is working out, right? And if Aaron Banks is playing good, well, guess what? Then you don't have to address interior of your offensive line or try and get another guy there. So I would want to go after a corner, but I feel like the position they're in now, I'm not sure if they can, Croc.
Yeah, and it's tough, and hopefully they can. You know, you do want a guy that's talented. I look at this cornerback class, and I definitely see one that is a little deeper to where, you know, second round, you should be able to get somebody that's talented.
Okay.
Now, again, I haven't done super deep dive, but I'm looking at a lot of the names. I'm looking at some of what I know about some of these prospects right now at the cornerback position. I'm like, man, there should be somebody good for the 49ers in the second round that's talented and not like limited, right? Because if you look at guys like Ambry Thomas, I thought he's gonna test the part, right? From a height, weight, speed standpoint and all that. But I did think he lacked a little bit from a movement skill standpoint. And maybe that's what he's kind of having a little bit of trouble with right now. Diamador Lenore, I actually liked a lot of his game, but I did question just the pure long speed on vertically pushing routes. And that was one thing that I kind of made note of. So if you want a guy that kind of has a combination of all those things and won't have as many limitations, you likely have to draft a guy like that in the top 50, like you said. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. But I also will die on this hill of saying if you have a terrific pass rush, it can mask a lot of things that's going on over the back end. And not to say that guys won't get beat. Again, I try to put this into perspective. Quarterbacks are averaging 250, 300 yards on everybody, right? So, like, if you see a quarterback end up with, 240 yards against the 49ers, 49ers aren't the only team that's giving up that many yards.
Right. And
they're getting it in similar fashion against everybody that they play against. So everybody's you're not having just this great success. And I think, again, we could look at 2019 and how much success the 49ers had. That's not realistic. Their pass rush was just amazing, right? More times than not, your pass rush won't look like that. It'll look more like what we've seen from the 49ers this year, where it's a little hit and miss, and you still have to find ways to win games. And because it's a little hit and miss, the secondary is going to give up a little bit more, but that's just going to happen. And it's not just against the 49ers. No. It's not.
I mean, just as you were saying that, Croc, I think about that Thanksgiving play that Diggs made on Marshawn Lattimore. It's like, you can only be so good, right? You're going to get beat every once in a while. Like, you just can't expect to win every play at the corner position. But I kind of want to ask you about something I've been thinking about lately with the offense and kind of the flow that Kyle's been in, because I think he's been in a real rhythm these last 3 games, Croc. But how do you think things would change in, let's say, a game against a Cincinnati or a team who can pass like that, right, in the playoffs, when game flow doesn't dictate their way? Because that's kind of the thing I've been worrying about right now, is I feel like these last 3 games specifically, game flow is completely gone the 49ers way, pretty much except against the Vikings, I think you could say. Even then, they had things going the way they want, where they want to run down teams' throats, right? They don't want to ask Jimmy to throw more than 25, 26 times per game. So what I'm questioning right now, and I think they'll be fine for the rest of the regular season, but more in the playoffs, is how are they going to keep up with a team who can pass like Cincinnati, Dallas, Tampa, but they're going to be down, 7-10 points in the second or third quarter. I just don't know how Kyle's going to necessarily react to that, especially with how things have been going lately, because he has been in such a rhythm with his running offense, right? And I think their run pass in these last 3 games, it's like 64-36. It's crazy, right? So Kyle's just running. how do you think they're going to react against like Cincinnati in 2 weeks? If Cincinnati gets up big early, how do they play and how do they respond?
No, I think the Vikings game kind of showed us how they
Okay.
have to respond, right? We can look at the previous two games and know that everything went their way. The big question was, well, if Jimmy doesn't come out and be as efficient right away, if the offense does turn the ball over, all the things the 49ers fans and people were talking and saying the 49ers couldn't have happened if they wanted to win that game, right? That's what they were saying about the Vikings. Now it's all the Vikings aren't good. But when it was happening, leading up to that game, everybody was super worried and saying that the 49ers pretty much had to play a perfect game just like they did the previous 2 weeks. And they didn't, right? And that's a high-powered, explosive offense. The quarterback had been really efficient, had not really turned the ball over at all. You have all these special receivers. You got a run game, yeah, everything. And 49ers came out, were missing plays. You had Jimmy throwing interception. You fell behind 7-0. And then I think you were behind again 14-7.
Yeah.
And still the 49ers found a way to win. So if you need like something to kind of reference as to what it has to look like for the 49ers, I think it's okay, we made our mistakes. Now let's not compound that. Let's now focus on, okay, how are we going to get back into this? Okay, we drive, we have a good drive, we tie the game up. Okay, we go back in the halftime, we get the ball back. Boom, we score. Next drive, interception. Like continue to do things like that late in the game. Josh Norman punches the ball out. 49ers didn't get it back. But again, just giving them an opportunity to get the ball back. Like, you're going to need like things like that to happen if it's not working perfect. And that's not just for the 49ers. I think that's for every game in the NFL.
Yeah, and I just feel like early in this season they were throwing the ball so much more than they were now. Where I don't want to say they're like taking the ball out of Jimmy's hands, but they're mitigating the risk, right? They
Right.
understand that. I've been talking about this last few days on Twitter, where I feel like they kind of finally understood that the risk reward with Jimmy, where if you're gonna force him to push the ball down the field, he's gonna have more turnover worthy plays. Like it's just gonna happen. He just doesn't have the big time upside explosive plays to go along with that. So I think you have to understand his limitations. You don't want to push him beyond those, right? And that's where I feel like they were getting into trouble earlier this year. There's multiple games where Jimmy's throwing 30, 40 times a game. So yeah, I guess you're right about the Vikings. I didn't think about that Vikings game that way. I think that's a great way to think about that they can respond to that sort of team. But I don't know. I'm still a little. I want to see them do this again for the next few weeks, and I know that's how it always goes with football, right? But I I think if they can prove that they can continue this run, even in games where it doesn't necessarily all dictate their way, then I'd be much more happy. Even though that Minnesota win I thought was probably the biggest win of the season, and it should put them in the top 5 or 6 of the NFC. The NFC is wide open, right? So you
Wide
never
open.
know. And that's and Croc, I'll tell you this: the one team who I am feeling confident about in the NFC right now is Arizona. I actually put a ticket on them, Super Bowl 8-1, because if you look at any team right now that is poised to get hot at the right moment, I have a feeling it's Arizona, considering all their injuries, considering they've been winning games without Kyler Murray, and their schedule's not going to be crazy down the stretch either. And they have 2 losses right now. I think they could be 15-2 or 14-3 headed into the playoffs. So I'm
Yeah.
not trying to get too ahead of things, but if there's one team right now, maybe it's Arizona, but I don't think any team has proven themselves at all.
And obviously with me saying this, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but say the 49ers make the playoffs and they have to play against Arizona in AZ. Is that a game you're worried about? In the sense of I don't think 49ers can win this game, or it's going to take a miracle for the 49ers to win. Is that one team?
I feel like it's them and playing Green Bay at home, just because I wouldn't want to go to Green Bay. So I think those 2 teams, like Tampa, I think you can beat Tampa. I think Tampa's a little overrated personally, but Arizona is that team I worry about right now. I just wouldn't want to play the Cardinals, especially with Kyler coming back. That offense is in a rhythm already. I mean, they're running the ball that offense just looks so good, and I think we all underestimated Cliff Kingsbury a little too much, right? So it's just funny how things go
Well,
in the NFL.
was he really? he didn't have the success in college. Right.
No.
Then he comes to the league and he's not having the success there. They started off
Yeah.
well last year and kind of fell off. So I don't think that it was like unjust, right? I don't think it was,
No.
however people thought about him was like, hey man, you're wrong for feeling this way about Cliff Kingsbury, because we have an extended period of time of him really not proving that he can
Yeah.
coach winning
Well,
teams.
Croc, we cover the things as they happen, right? We're not projecting into the future. We see what's
Right.
happening and we try and tell people what's happening. That's what was happening with Cliff, right? But now it's all changing. And it's just funny how things in the NFL can flip so quickly like that to me, Croc. But I'll let you get to another caller. I did want to mention, though, 2 FSU guys, 2 defensive ends. Go check them out. Give them a good watch. They're fun. So once you get to your defensive ends and scouting, those are 2 fun guys. Go check them out.
All right, I'll be calling in, man. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
All right, thanks, Croc. I appreciate it.
All right, shout out to my guy Ben. Come on, people, hit that like button. All right. Now I don't want to say I'm the only 49ers podcast or show without an agenda, but yeah, man, hit the like button. Make sure, let people see this, help with the algorithms, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody that's in here right now. You guys already know Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Make sure you guys download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code and be able to go win you some money, man. Bet on over-unders, all that stuff. And if you're just into fantasy, they have that for you as well for all sports. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code Crocky. Go download the app. Use the promo code. Do that right now. Support the show. Also, Manscaped, manscaped.com. Get cleaned up right now is the perfect time. Holidays, if you want to gift for yourself, or if there's a woman on here and you want to give a gift for your significant other, or one of y'all just see your brother or whatever, your uncle, you're like, man, my uncle's hella hairy, his nose is hairy, chest hairy. You want him to clean all that up. Go to Manscaped. They got the new 4.0 package that's out right now. Use the promo code Crocky and you'll get 20% off of everything on the Manscaped website. So manscaped.com, promo code Crocky, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Go do those 2 things right now. All right. Real quick, got another guy coming on, my guy Darius, and he's been patiently waiting. I appreciate you, Darius. Here we go. Darius, what's good,
All
man?
good.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, bro. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I came on earlier and I talked about my gym. It should be arriving today. Real quick, let me get to this super chat real quick. The corners and defensive numbers only matter in the fourth quarter. The first 3 are important, but elite defenses show up in the fourth quarter. My response to that, my guy Double B Studio, is I think the elite pass rush shows up in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when the pass rush has to pounce. Secondary is tough, man. You've been running and clocking all those steps and yards throughout the entire game. But biggest thing, you want help late in that fourth quarter, that pass rush. Get to the quarterback, make him, get tired of being hit, get to him, force guys off of their spots. That's going to help the secondary, and everybody looks good. All right, so that's what I think needs to happen late in the fourth quarter. But what's going on with you, man? What's on your mind?
Okay, so I've been looking at these film reviews, and naturally they're mostly talking about Jimmy and what's going on with him. But what I've seen was, as far as with the Vikings, and I would have to go back to check other teams if they did this or not. But with the Vikings, when they ran the man coverage more times than not, the isolated DB that was zone, or I guess they call him the robber, he would favor Debo on like a slant or cross. Like he's there. Like it's like a double team pretty much. Like he's not even thinking about nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And I guess my question is now this week, strategy. How do you feel they're going to guard Brandon Ayuk? You think he'll get the same type of attention, or you think Pete will be more or less just about stopping us from the run and loading the box and daring us to throw with Jimmy?
Of course, like he's going to get the attention. 49ers wide receiver, group. It's slim without Deebo Samuel. As most teams without their best receiver is going to be slim, right? I think the 49ers are actually in an advantageous situation, being able to have a Brandon Ayuk who has a lot of talent, and also, a George Kittle. I think if I'm the Seattle
Mhm.
Seahawks, I'm looking to take away George Kittle first and foremost, right? Like that's the guy that you can't let beat you with no Debo and Samuel. So if there's any guy that I'd be looking to, pay a little more attention to, it would be George Kittle.
All right, yeah, because I asked because like I remember last year when Debo went out and Ayuk filled in that role, like he did his thing and he ran a few of Debo's plays, with the sweeps and all that good stuff. And I mean, Lord, I don't know if they put him running back. I hope he know what he's doing, but that's another story.
No. You talking about Ayuk
If,
putting him at running back?
yeah. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I
Nah.
know they ain't gonna do
Okay,
that. They ain't gonna do
yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing too was like, you know, Jalen Hurd, he had fit, I think, a certain type of player that Kyle wanted. I feel like Jalen was supposed to be our boy, like Antonio Brown type. You know what I'm saying? Run the routes and get down there deep and jump over you type cat. And that didn't work out, obvious. So this draft coming up, do you feel like maybe Kyle might be looking for another receiver to fit that type of can I say like that game style, or do you think that's even like on the radar as far as when the draft comes, like the thing about a receiver or any of that? Because I know a lot is
Maybe
about the
not.
corner, and we do need a corner.
If I'm Kyle Shanahan, the one thing about offense is he can manufacture the touches for anybody. So whether it's George Kittle, whether it's Debo, whether it's Ayuk or anybody else, he's able to kind of finesse that the way that he sees fit. Defensive back, or not even defensive back, but defense in general, that's more of a reaction type thing. Like, so you just need guys with ability. So if I'm the 49ers, I probably go out and pay a little bit more
Yeah.
attention to the defense, right? Whether it's getting edge rushers, an edge rusher in the second round, which is tough. Most of the time, in second round edge, he's missing something. But whether it's drafting, an edge or drafting somebody in the secondary, I think now typically I'm higher on cornerbacks, but now I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards like a safety that can affect the game, because corner, you can have a Jalen Ramsey, but guys can just decide to stay away from him, or a Stephon Gilmore. And it's like, well, I'm just going to stay away from him. Safeties, I feel like now more than ever can impact the game in more ways, whether it's in the passing game or the run game. So maybe they look for that safety that is super rangy and has playmaking ability. That would be something that's enticing. But I think when it comes to getting a receiver, I'm sure the 49ers, who have been known to draft receivers, I think last year was the first time they didn't draft a receiver.
Right.
So, they've been known to draft a guy. It might not be as high.
And we traded up for him too.
Who?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm saying for Brandon Ayuk, didn't we trade up for him? Didn't we trade up for Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, Ayuk. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if the 49ers just go ahead and draft a receiver higher or anything like that. I think they'll prioritize defense. But we'll see.
Well, that's my question, right? And I'm going after this. But so remember when I asked you yesterday about Jimmy, like, is the throws like kind of like predetermined? Like, is he already thinking he's going to throw to this person? Yada yada. And so Kurt Warner, he comes out of the film study.
Darius, I'm losing you. My bad, Darius. We lost you. It started breaking up really bad. Maybe try to come out and then come back in. We'll see if that helps the connection there. My guy, Double B Studio coming back in. If a corner gets beat on 1 to 10 or 2, on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10 on the opponent's 25-yard or 40, those numbers add up. Forgivable. But on 3rd downs and backed up against the red zone stops, those numbers I care about more. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you want guys that tighten down more in the red zone, as opposed to just like, okay, if you get beat out in the open field, that's whatever. But when it mattered, when you need it most in the red zone, you want guys to be in there to make plays for you. Am I reading that correctly? And I agree. I think, one thing that definitely can help in the red zone is having guys that are physical. The tough thing is the NFL is kind of taking that away, man. They're throwing flags on all that. So you have guys and if they deem it just a little bit too much contact, flag. So I don't know. I think now more than ever, you need guys that have the ability to play off, have the quick twitch to change the direction, the feet to be able to mirror and match receivers' movement, skills, and ability. And that's typically the smaller corners. That's typically the guys that are a little, not as big, not as long legged. I think that's what you're looking for at Double B Studio. I think you want a guy about 5'11", good change of direction, good hips, good feet, good flip, but also has the speed to run vertically with guys. So we see guys like Greg Newsome. I loved Greg Newsome. He was my second favorite corner in this class. He would be perfect for the 49ers. But right now, he's perfect for the Browns. He's having a solid year as a rookie. I appreciate the contribution. Love everybody. Love all the contributions. Love everybody that's in here in the chat right now. I appreciate everybody that came in here. I appreciate everybody that came on the show. Again, if you haven't already, Underdog Fantasy, download the app, promo code Crocky. Also, manscaped.com, promo code Crocky, 20% off. Go get that 20% off right now. Here we go. Hold on. Let me see. I saw. I'm reading some of the comments in here. Croc, do you know what notable CBs that will be available in free agent this offseason? I don't know, but I'll say this. I'm really not big on free agent corners. I'm just not big on free agent corners. It's going to depend on where the 49ers are. I'm definitely, because, again, I value corners it's just a little different. Unless it's like a homegrown guy or a guy that's available for a weird reason. Like, say like a CJ Henderson. That's somebody I would have made a move for, right? I would have traded for CJ Henderson. Stephon Gilmore. I think if the 49ers maybe were better at the time that Stephon Gilmore was available, I think that would have been an opportunity for the 49ers to really, go and get him. But the 49ers weren't playing well when Stephon Gilmore was available. And I think that was a situation where it was just like, do we trade for this guy and go all in for a guy that might, are we good? Are we not? Also, there's something about him wanting to go to Carolina. I think he had a house already. I guess he's from there. He got traded to the Carolina Panthers and he's from that area. And he's had a house next to like the Panthers GM. So that might have been a spot where it's just like he wanted to go there. So yeah, but as far as free agency with cornerbacks, I think a lot of times when you don't watch a corner every play, you think a guy is better than he is. So we're going to hear names in the free agency and people are going to be like, go get that guy, go get that guy. I'm not big on that. I think I'd take my chances more in the draft. Maybe free agency if a guy is kind of, low money. But nah. I probably would go the route of draft. Now, maybe defensive end, I'll spend a little money in free agency on defensive end. If a guy's available and, not too crazy. Here we go. This is a good question. Do the Packers have content guys like Crocker? The Packers. Hey man, listen, if you want a guy to give content like I do for the Packers, I have a guy for you. So you got to subscribe to the channel, and I have a guy who is not he's not a podcast guy yet, but maybe I could turn him into one. He's a Packer fan though. He's a Packer fan, but he looks at the game the same way I do. Matter of fact, as I'm tweeting and stuff like that, he'll DM me about a prospect or any, or how something might pertain to the Packers. So I might have a guy for you. Gotta stick with me. Stick with me, Victor. I might have a guy for you. I missed the super chat again. No, I got your super chat. I posted. I answered your question. Hold on. I'll go back up to it. It wasn't that one. It was this one. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Maybe I didn't. I think I posted it. Maybe I didn't get to it. All right, but here we go. I like the bell technique we play, but our eyes have been undisciplined at times, but not bad play overall, Croc. Okay, great question. So, a couple things here. When you are bailing out, there's a lot of anticipation that goes into that. Now, I'll tell you who was really good at press bail. really good, one of the best I've ever seen. Josh Norman, 2015 version of Josh Norman. He was terrific with his press bell. That was a press bell clinic. If you look at a lot of my tweets heading into last year's draft, I referenced that season a lot as it pertained to how well Josh Norman pressed bell and how much he challenged himself from a press bell position. I think they played a lot of quarters, and he was able to really just challenge himself no matter the receiver. It damn near looked like man, but I think it was a zone. I think it was more of a quarters, and they felt comfortable doing that. The only other guy I've seen do it to that level was probably Jeffrey Okudah at Ohio State. He was really good at it. Really good. And that's what I was referencing. Like, damn, this is one of the best press bell guy I've seen since Norman. Now, later in his career, I think Witherspoon, Richard Sherman was legit at that. But Norman's not that anymore. Now Norman is more focused on not getting beat over top. I think it was a technique that he had to play early on because Norman wasn't the fastest of guys, even when he was younger. Now, obviously, he's older. So, the older you get, you're going to lose the step. And now he has to play like that. And it's just tough. You can tell that he's not fully challenging himself as much on a consistent basis. So when Norman is in a bill right now, you could probably get him on a stop route. Maybe he doesn't squeeze it as tough on an end breaking route. But a few years ago, man, he was legit at that. I do think that definitely having eye discipline would help in that, especially if you're reading your keys. Because most of the time, guys are reading 2-1 in the zone, especially if you're bailing and recognizing when 2 goes away right now. Okay, I can play man on 1 now. I could settle my feet a little bit and sit on some of these stop routes. But if you don't do it right, it ends up like looking like Josh Norman against the Rams on that. There's a pass down the left sideline in the red zone to Van Jefferson, and you see Norman in a press bill, and he kind of stops his feet just a little bit. I think that was him misjudging what he was anticipating. So that's something that you can kind of get into at times in the press bill. But I think, yeah, overall they can get a little bit better. But I think with Norman right now, he kind of is what he is at this age. I appreciate the contribution. My bad for not getting to that earlier. All right. Again, man, I appreciate everybody that's in here, everybody that's in the chat. My guy Vic that was in here, a Packer fan. And I'm gonna try to get some Packer stuff for you, man. I promise. Rushman. I've seen him in the chat. Is Rushman a Packer fan as well? I'm gonna try to get a guy for y'all. Croc got to change the podcast name to Josh Norman Jimmy G podcast. The tough thing is, man, I talk about what everybody else is talking about, and I want to touch on those things. And if you look up and down my timeline, a lot of it's Josh Norman and Jimmy Garoppolo. And we come on here and we talk a little bit about some of that. But I appreciate everybody that's in here. Appreciate everybody that's subbing. Got my guy Rushman. We got the Packer guy that sub. We got Victor. Oh, Victor isn't a Packer fan. So is it just Rushman that's a Packer fan? Croc, I have your online store, bro. I'll send you the link. I don't have an online store. Do I? I don't think so. We do got the merchandise. Got the Frontline Sports merchandise. Got the beanies. Got the hats. I still got some flat bill hats. I got the red one on right now. Still got some flat bill hats. Actually, I'm out of the red beanie. No more red beanies. I'm sold out. I'm sending everything out Friday. But I do got a couple blue ones. But yeah, man. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Everybody that stuck with me for this hour, almost hour and a half. Everybody that showed love. Again, I'm really excited. Got the gym about to go up. Let's go. Victor. Packers, man. I believe ready to go. My bad, man. My bad. I don't know why I thought Victor was. Didn't you ask if I got a Packers content person? My bad, man. My bad. Hello, 49er fans. I didn't realize Jimmy G was brainwashed by the Patriot way. He said football starts in December, so he might play good. Hope so. Hope so. But yeah, hey Victor, man, my bad, bro. My bad. If you guys don't know, this is not just strictly YouTube. You also can find the podcast audio version of this on whatever streaming device that you use, whatever streaming site you use, it will be on in the next 2 hours or so. It'll be loaded up every day. We're here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys continue to tune in. I appreciate all the contributions I poured in today. I will have some information on my gym by tomorrow. We'll see if it's here. Supposed to be here, the building, the parts. For those of you who are interested in merchandise and want a beanie, I know some of you guys have already ordered. The beanies are going out tomorrow. Hit me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. You got to DM me, or on Instagram. My Instagram is at crocktime_u. All right, so here's the Twitter and the Instagram if you are looking to, get some of this merchandise. But it's going fast. I got no more red beanies. All the dad hats are sold out. I still have some straight bill hats, but even those are going. I'm pretty sure by Sunday everything's gonna be gone. And I don't know when's the next time I'm gonna get any merchandise. So you're gonna have to DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram. If you do that, I know you're serious, and I'll message you right back and we'll get you set up. But I appreciate everybody, man. Frontline Sports Media, man. Let's go. Podcast coming. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Appreciate all the contributions. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Go do that right now. Bet over-under's got a game tonight. I saw CeeDee Lamb's over-under on receptions is 4.5. I'm for sure going with the over. I'm going to win me some money. Win you some too. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Crocky. Manscaped, manscaped.com. Stop walking around looking crazy. Go get sexy for your lady. Promo code Crocky, and I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.